Hello, I'm Gemma and this is Non-Fic Books. And today, the stars have aligned. Baby 1's having quiet time, baby 2's sleeping, so I am going to try and get a video filmed because Olive is doing Non-Fiction November this year and I want to jump on and be a bit of a cheerleader because I love Non-Fiction November. This year I can take absolutely no credit whatsoever for it. It's all Olive as far as I'm aware. I will link her channel and videos down below as well as the Goodreads page. As always, there are 4 categories, but if you want to get involved you don't need to do all of them, you don't even need to do any of them. Basically, the whole point of Non-Fiction November is to read more non-fiction than you would normally do. So if you don't read any, read 1 and that still counts. If you read 4, read 6. Just try to read more non-fiction during November. The 4 categories are true, voice, design and sport. And those can be interpreted in any way, and I think everyone does have a slightly different interpretation, and there's certainly one I've had to be a little bit loose with. The first one that I want to tell you about the books that A, I'd recommend, and B, I want to read, is voice. So one that I would really recommend is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, because I'm going quite literally for hearing the voices from the past. This is an absolutely beautiful book. And it's following a year that an Edwardian lady documented. This is basically a nature journal and it is absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend it. And another one that I recommend is Every Girl's Duty by Alice Mills, the diary of a Victorian debutante, edited with a commentary by Maggy Parsons. This is brilliant. It's so funny. You really don't expect a young woman, I think she's only 15, 18, something like that, from the Victorian period to be so sort of ballsy and forthright. I absolutely love it and I highly recommend it. One that I would really like to read was very kindly sent to me earlier this year, some time ago. Curtain Down at Her Majesty's, The Death of Queen Victoria in the Words of Those Who Were There by Stuart Richards. And this is letters, diary entries, people's own writing about their experience when Victoria died. That sounds absolutely fascinating to me. The one I've had to interpret very, very loosely is sport. Yeah, don't come to me if you want sports recommendations. I don't watch sport and I have absolutely no desire to read anything written by a sports person. It's just not my cup of tea. So I've gone outdoorsy, because that's the closest I can get to you with sport. So, In Her Element, edited by MacNamee, Women and Their Landscape, an Anthology. This book is brilliant. I don't normally like collections of essays, but it's a really, really nicely written thing. It's published by Ono Press, which is the best place to pick this up, and it's all about women and their relationship to the landscape, mainly based in Wales. So this is either women who have moved to Wales, are Welsh talking about the Welsh landscape, or who are Welsh and have moved away. And it's beautiful. This is a book that will be staying with me for a long time and I will definitely be rereading it. One in a similar vein I would like to read is Clare Balding's Walking Home, My Family and Other Ramblings. Clare Balding, quite a famous TV personality. I find quite interesting, and this is all about, she got really into walking, and this is about her encouraging her family to go on a long walk near their home. And it sounds quite interesting to me. Truth, I've gone for like The Search for Truth. And the book that I really recommend is Richard Holmes' The Age of Wonder, How the Romantic Generation Discovered the Beauty and Terror of Science. This book is absolutely fantastic. It looks massive, but I absolutely flew through it and ended up reading it a second time because I read a lot of this out loud to my husband and he found it really enjoyable as well. This, as well as, when I can get it, In Her Element are 2 of my all-time favourite non-fiction books, so I highly recommend those. And one that I would like to read, a similar vein, is Andrea Wulf's Chasing Venus, The Race to Measure the Heavens. It's exactly what it says on the tin, and I really like Andrea Wulf's writing, so I would very much like to pick that up. The final one is Design, and I've got 2 books on a slightly different interpretation of the word design. The first one, I'm taking it very, very literally. Ben Pentreath's English Decoration. Timeless inspiration for the contemporary home. I really like Ben Pentreath as a designer. I really like his slightly old-fashioned but a modern interpretation. I like quite the worn look. He doesn't do a lot of new furniture. It's antiques, it's second-hand, it's old things that have been recovered, and I really like that. If my entire house could look like a sort of minimalist version of his designs, I would be very, very happy. I have several small children. I have 2 small children and a dog, and don't really care all that much, so it will never look like that, but it would be lovely. Their slightly looser interpretation of design is Lucy Worsley's Jane Austen at Home, a biography. This is a really interesting book because it looks at Jane Austen through the houses that she lived in, and it's sort of how the design of the houses affected her, what they sort of showed of the different stages in her life, and I think this is a fantastic book, and also the audiobook is a brilliant version as well. The book that I would like to read is A Passion for Friendship, Sybil Colfax and Her Circle by Kirsty MacLeod. This sounds really interesting. Sybil Colfax is one of the founders of Colfax and Fowler, the decorating company, and I know absolutely nothing about her, but she was friends with all sorts of very important people. Can I see get to the photographs? And look how glamorous everybody was. She was of that sort of era and that sort of ilk. And I just think it's quite a short book. I'll probably fly through it, but it should be rather interesting. I quite like Colfax and Fowler. Some of the things are a little bit too old-fashioned for me, but I really, really enjoy it, and I think it would be she would be a very interesting person to find out about, because I've heard small amounts about her through reading other books that talk about sort of society and hostesses and things, but I've never actually read a book entirely on her. I don't know whether this is me coming back, I don't know whether it's me not coming back, but I just want to champion Non-Fiction November, because there's this really big thing about non-fiction being dry or boring, and it's just such nonsense. There are so many beautifully written non-fiction books out there, and I think we're in a phase of it's a brilliant time to be reading non-fiction. The stuff that's coming out at the moment is so often so well written. It's not dry textbooks. So if you find a book that interests you that's non-fiction, give it a go, even if you're not a non-fiction reader. Seriously, you read some non-fiction. Blogs are non-fiction, well, can be non-fiction. Again, papers, they can be non-fiction. They're meant to be, not always, but hey ho. Everybody reads a certain amount of non-fiction. There's nothing scary about it. Grab it, read it. If one doesn't suit you, pick something else up. Read whatever you find interesting. These are just some books that I really enjoyed that I would recommend as high quality ones. And let me know down below, are you participating in Non-Fiction November? If so, what books are you reading? Would you recommend anything? Leave it all down below. And who knows, I may even see you in a video soon. Bye!